Do you do? I think I've asked you this. Do you do Halloween?
We do Halloween here
Is
in New
it
Zealand.
is yeah? Is it a worldwide phenomena?
I think it's an Americanism worldwide phenomenon where, yeah, oh, actually commercialism too. So
Yeah,
a lot of people like to
sure.
dress up and buy lollies, eat lollies, sweets,
Lollies,
lollies. It's very
but
British,
isn't
isn't it?
lolly what? Say again.
It's very British.
Yeah,
Lollies.
but last time I heard the term lolly, it was on a commercial with it was like Uber Eats. It was a
Huh.
commercial with Elton John, and
Well, there you go. He's English.
I know, but he was asking for bangers and mash, or
Yep.
which is money. He was asking for money for a ride thing he was on. You know, one of those kid rides. You put a quarter or whatever denomination
Okay.
in, and it does
Yeah.
its thing. But he said, I think he said, "Can you spare a lolly?" But that doesn't go with, because I think
Maybe.
you're saying lolly as like a lollipop, right? As candy,
Well,
or no?
yes, lollies qualify as lollipops by
Okay,
the name, of course.
right.
So, I mean, maybe he had a vision in his head of like he's sitting on like this quarter operated riding horse thingo and he has a lollipop and his little beret with a. I don't know.
No, well,
We're losing
um,
them. We're losing them. Hey, everyone. This is banter before the show. Don't worry. We'll be starting soon.
I will say the commercial. He's on a rocket, which
Oh,
for Elton John, a
Rocket
rocket
Man.
ride,
Rocket
because he's
Man.
the Rocket Man.
Yeah.
It's very fitting. I mean,
Hmm.
it's on, it's spot on.
But you can't tell us what it was advertising because they didn't pay us, right?
Oh, I already said it. Oops.
Oh, okay. Well, we're a minute
Rats.
out. Look, thanks for everyone for joining us. We will not be too much longer. We've really got the hang of this now. After how many
Come
years?
on, knock on something. Knock on some wood. Don't say
What is
that.
what is wood these days? Jamie, hello. Yeah, we thought
What?
that this was a good
What is
way
wood?
to get the show going. Oh, speaking of getting the show going, I think it's about time.
Do it.
Here we go. Oh, welcome to the 365 Message Center show where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, stay informed, and slightly slur our intro.
Are
Uh,
you drunk, Daryl?
no.
Okay.
Ian, Jamie, and others that haven't chatted yet, call it out. All right, Heidi.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got you all here. Yeah, look, we enjoy the banter too before the show. It does help to give people time to gather before they join us, before we get
Indeed.
right into it. Ian, look, it's good to hear from you. There we go.
It is wonderful to see all the folks in chat. Thank you so much. And yeah, we like the banner. And actually, I was in mid banter, and Daryl made me shut up so that we could start the banter.
I'm sorry.
And then,
Was there
and
something
then
you
we,
wanted to finish?
no, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Not at all. Well, we want to let you know what you're in for this show. We are trying to seed the title of our videos with a couple of things so that you know what we're going to cover. But we also didn't want to give people the impression that that's all the episode was about. So we've been toying around with that. We're going to cover off co-organizer meeting role. That's probably the top one there. So much so that Hermine had gone in early, just after the episode was published, and said, look, I'm not going to make it, people. Almost like she was responding to a meeting invite to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it, or maybe not be able to make it. Oh, she's there. Hermine.
Brown
you'll
noser. I mean, she kind of a brown noser, starting off early and getting the show rolling. No, I think it was
No.
great comments there, and kind of in line with what we kind of Daryl and I were talking about before. So we'll get to that, but love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, SharePoint and OneDrive image editing, and the other one we want to cover too is updates to site creation experience. Right. So, Daniel, let's get into this
Yes.
first one.
I think so. And this first one is that one that I think may be a little confusing, but
Well,
not
it
confusing, but
is.
maybe a little lacking. But I'll let you
Yeah.
dive into it.
Well, we'll definitely all get into it. I'm sure Hermine will have some things to say about it. Co-organize a meeting role, MC 292796. Look, from the outset, great. We do need any additional help we can get if we're in a meeting, we're facilitating a workshop. And I think of it as, well, who's an organizer for starters, Daniel? Apart from
Uh,
the obvious.
well, the person who organized the meeting. But that's the obvious one, I bet.
What can they do?
They can do all the things. They can reschedule. They can turn people into presenters and magically with their wand.
Yep. Change the options, update
Change
the
all the
meeting
meeting
invite,
options.
all that sort of stuff. Right. So this is a person that sometimes we find maybe they're organizing the meeting on behalf of someone, or maybe something happens that they can't come along to that meeting, or like I said before, it gets so busy that there are just certain things that they need help with when they're running the meeting. So this new role within meetings, in its Microsoft Teams meetings, will allow you to have up to 10 additional co-organizers. And the co-organizer role is a bit like when you can choose a presenter. You can do it beforehand, but it's optional. And they will come in, and you can choose. You can only choose people from your organization. So I couldn't invite Daniel in to be part of that. When you do choose a co-organizer, they will be able to do these lovely things: access and change meeting options. So I'm just going to call some of these out here as just like almost like a one-off thing. Is it really that important for everyone to be able to do that? Good that everyone can bypass the lobby if you're a co-organizer. Admit people into the lobby. That's another useful thing for up to 10 people to do. Lock a meeting. Maybe one person will do that. Present content. Well, what are you thinking, Daniel, so far through this list? Are these all useful things for a co-organizer?
No. So organizer, I feel like there's these different roles that we take on, right? Organizer is different than a presenter. It can be, right? And so when you're talking about an organizer, things like, do I want multiple people to be able to lock the meeting? Maybe. The benefit I see as a co-organizer is if the organizer actually is not going to be there, right? Either intentionally not going to be there, meaning just like you're talking about organizing it before for someone else, or it's they just can't make it. Maybe someone got sick, or whatever. So are these? I don't know. I don't know if it's.
Well,
that.
Drew had a good question, which definitely you're right here. Let's get to the cannots. But before we do that, Hermine is also pointing out that some of these things that a co-organizer can do, presenters can do too, unless they're changing that. Presenters can admit, they can present, hopefully. So what's the story? Let's see the cannots. I mean, they're on screen, of course. They cannot create and manage breakout rooms. And this is another role that's been introduced in the near future, isn't it? The breakout room manager.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be something where it would be nice to have one role if I'm going to do a co-organizer, that they basically get all the roles. But the way this is laid out, it seems we're going to have to specifically give different roles for what so if you're a co-organizer, but I also want you to do the managing the breakouts, I'm going to have to assign you yet another role.
Well, I also don't know if people can have multiple roles.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can get this levels idea, of course: organizer, co-organizer, breakout room manager, presenter. I don't know who's higher or level there, and an attendee. Um, yeah, look, uh, do what else have we got? Can't manage the recording. Mm, yeah, edit the meeting invitation. So that's a key one because it's sitting in the person's mailbox who organized the meeting. But we had a talk yesterday, didn't we, Daniel, about what about when it's a meeting that's held in a channel? It usually appears to come from the group. So
Hmm.
who can manage and change the meeting invite then?
We don't know.
We don't know. But anyway, in recognition of this additional role, there is a change in labels from who can present, only me and all co organizers, who can bypass the lobby, only me and co organizers. So I think what I'm hearing here in the chat room too is that a lot of people want a co organizer to be able to manage breakout rooms. Sound right?
I think so. I feel like they want it to be more like a marriage where we're all equal.
Hmm.
I mean, we want to be organizers to be equal. I feel like. I think there's some things that maybe in the back end, whatever. But it feels like if you're going to make a co-organizer, they should be able to do everything.
Hmm.
I think, but that's not what we're getting right now.
No, no.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe this is V1, and based on feedback, maybe there are some limitations there that just take a bit more cooperation with other product groups and products. But
Yeah.
this is going to be available late November and should be finished by early December, till we hear whether or not it's updated.
Right.
Okay, well, Daniel, we spent enough time on that one, and thanks for everyone for the comments there. Very legitimate comments. Can you tell us something about SharePoint and OneDrive?
I could tell you quite a few things, but today I'm going to focus on SharePoint and OneDrive image edit filters. This is MC292619. We've talked about the ability to edit images on the show a few weeks ago, and that being able to do that in SharePoint and OneDrive. And now with this announcement, and the GA is late November, so targeted release late October, so coming soon. It's nowish. In the next week or so is all we really have. And GA will be in the mid to late November for everyone else. Being able to apply filters to those images, not just those simple edits, but filters doing color and light settings, highlights and saturation. Don't think of this as some Photoshop replacement, but I really think of it as a tweaking, just changing images a little bit to make them add them a little style. That's really what this is all about. Now, this message has been updated since it was published, but it was just that they wanted to clarify, oh yes, you can do this in SharePoint and OneDrive, not just in OneDrive. So I think that's it. Simple, sweet, but it's going to be interesting to see what people do for images there.
And how many filters we get to see as well. Yeah, that's actually a good point, that last one you made, that we sometimes just assume as you cast your eye down the list, updated message means an updated timeline. But it will pay for you to go in and see what has updated. Sometimes it is clarifying the messaging.
You made two really good points there. One, the first one was your point about me making a good point. I think that was true. I make a lot of good points. And then the second one is, yes, we're here to educate you. And just because it says updated doesn't mean it's delayed, or oftentimes if there's a mistake, they'll go in and update it just to, or not just a mistake, but just a clarification point, So
just, you do know too, people, that it's you don't have to just cast your eye down there and see updated message state. You can change it in there and take a look at all the updated messages. So that's a good way to just quickly go in and see, well, Daniel and Darrell, they talked about this about a week or two ago. We're expecting to see it nowish or even end of this monthish, but something hasn't arrived yet. So that's a quick way to go in and see if this is something you've been wanting to communicate to people. and prepare them for change, then that's how you quickly do that.
Thanks for the tip. That's a great one. So you can make great tips, great points as well. So speaking of updates, what about site creation experience?
Yeah, am I still in? Oh, okay. Fun. You can apply 2 filters at the same time.
Indeed.
So we have updated site creation. Yep. So that is MC292736. Let's drop that back into a bit more visibility. This is pretty simple, but it feels also like a mixed message. Not in that it's telling you one thing, but changing its mind. Rather that it is a combination of things that don't appear to be related. The end goal though, is trying to clarify which site template or which type of site you can create, and then permissions. So let's scoot on down and have a look at it. First of all, what does this look like in terms of improvements for the site creation? I think we can full screen that. Let's give that a go. There we go. Sort of. Blow that up a bit. What looks different there? One of these things is not like the other. Well, if we compared the current to this, it is more about just giving a bit more description of what is this type of site trying to achieve. Now, this isn't templates. It's either a team site or a communication site. And I believe sometimes people are choosing team site when they actually want those communication capabilities. So what has been detailed now down below, and you'll see this come in soon to your tenants, is a bit more description about what the site is trying to achieve. A team site is all about teamwork. So if you're not using just Microsoft Teams, but a team site for coordinating projects and staying up to date with things and tracking tasks. So that's all there. Or a communication site, which is more about news and about getting content across to people and less about teamwork. So good to see that improvement. If we go back to our message, the other thing that we get to see is a change in explaining the site permissions. So this is interesting because the people who usually create these sites know a bit about permissions already. They're familiar with SharePoint. So I think this is going to be most helpful, Daniel, to people who are quite new to SharePoint. But let's just site owners, full control. What's added there is that full control bit at the end. Site members, limited control. What else do you see that's different here?
Well, it's the really not much there, but you do have the hover over, which we've had before, of kind of explaining what's going on there. But really that full control, limited control, no control, just giving us an idea of what those details are, and any kind of details we can get, I think is important. It will. I'm a little confused by what no control means. I know what control means, but when you say no control, I think it really gives the impression that you can't do anything, which, as we know, site visitors they view. So if you are confused by that, and people are confused by, maybe you think your users will be confused by the hover over to see the, those details that we're going to get now with the hovering over, then make sure you do a thumbs down on this message if you'd like to give some feedback, and tell them why, just to say, hey, maybe this is the way I would improve that. But I think any more additional information would be great. It's just, are people going to see those little things to hover over? Not sure, but that's what the second part of this is.
Sandy does raise a good point too, that limited control, okay, even if you took one thing away, I guess that's limiting something, but they actually have edit permissions, which is pretty powerful, really. I mean, you can do a lot with that. Yeah, and even with those who have team sites behind Teams and use those, any member of the team has edit permissions over that site.
Yeah, it's coming from the perspective of administration.
Mm.
When you're looking at this, that's what it means. Full control means you have that full administration. Limited control means you have limited administration, meaning you can actually delete whole swaths of stuff, right? You can create a whole bunch. But that's what it's coming from. Although when users come to this, that's not their mentality, I don't think. I think they come to this thinking this is permissions on the site, period. It's not about administration. So anyway, my recommendation is making sure that you communicate to your site owners what this means. And, when they come in here and they see something that could happen is they come in and say, oh, limited control. I don't want people with limited control. I want them to be able to do other stuff on the site.
Yeah.
And so maybe they then go, oh, maybe they should be owners. And that gives them even more power that maybe you don't want them to have. So just make sure you clarify with your users, make sure they know exactly, as part of your adoption efforts, that ongoing training as well, that they know what that means.
Good advice. So rounding that out, it'll arrive at targeted release that select users and organizations early November, expect to be completed standard release in mid-December. And moving over to yet another SharePoint update.
It's a SharePoint update for SharePoint. This is SharePoint app bar temporary window to disable is extended. So it's not so temporary. MC293206. So the SharePoint app bar is that new functionality Microsoft's bringing to the left side of the page to give you access to tenant navigation, SharePoint tenant navigation, and recent content, all that kind of stuff, all that wonderful stuff. So, and this is your news, right? Just shortcuts, right? For doing that. So if you'll remember when they announced it, they allowed a time period for you to make it to where it would not enable for your tenant. Now they're just extending that window from October 31st, which was the initial time window, to March 31st. So of course they want you to enable it eventually, but they're going to give you a few extra months here. Very generous, Microsoft, to get your adoption efforts going, so you can not only get your site ready to add it, maybe you've got some stuff on your site that it would interfere with, but also get your users ready to use it in the proper way.
It's interesting, like the effort that goes into trying to make people aware of something like a sidebar. I mean, it's not massively impacting people's experience of SharePoint today, but the idea is it's supposed to bring things together across the whole experience. I still see a lot of people not really even use the app launcher, let alone the app bar. Right. So, it is down to showing people the advantages of, here's how you can change between the apps within your organization, and this is how you can jump into sites and eventually global navigation that will help you get around your intranet.
Global navigation. It's amazing.
Well, that is it in terms of messages that we wanted to cover this week. It was a bit light, but we do want to cover something that has arrived, a callback. Daniel.
We do, I think, want to do that.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll find that message.
Okay.
This is actually, we said it when we covered it in the show a few weeks back, a couple of months back, that, there it is, 7th of September. It's going to impact a lot of possibilities with editing pages.
Indeed. Yeah, this one is new feature improvements to the text web part for SharePoint pages and news. Paste pictures into text web part. That's what this is all about.
So it's here, Daniel?
It indeed is here. So what I'm going to show on my wonderful screen over here, if you'll pull that up, is I have a SharePoint page. You probably can tell that this is a SharePoint site, hopefully. And I'm going to not do that. I'm going to hit edit. And I'm going to go add a text web part. So let's do it here and say,
what are you going to add? What are you going to
text.
add? Uh-huh.
So we're going to say, here is some text just to kind of get us started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to paste. I'm not uploading a file. This is a screen grab.
Screen grab?
It's a screen grab of Darrell. See, there he is explaining things just earlier, just about 2 minutes ago.
Well,
And
don't zoom on that.
yeah. And I'm going to just take some more text, and I'm going to put that in here as well, just to kind of give us an idea of what we can do with this, because we can line this differently. So we can line the image left, right, center. I just pasted this in. It created an image. So SharePoint is taking care of that. I paste it from my clipboard. So it takes that image. It actually saves that image on my site. So there's an actual PNG now in the background. So we can reuse this for other things too. But there's also there's a drag here. So I can click and drag this and move this image up to where I want it to be. Mm-hmm. If I align it to the side here, for instance, aligned to right, my text is wrapping around. You know, this is something that we really haven't been able to do very well with SharePoint at all, is intermingling text and images to where it looks like it's supposed to, like, you know, you would expect from a website. So being able to just do text wrapping is just so easy. You're seeing me do it right there. No special skills. Trust me. My friends will tell you I have none of those. And we're able to do it. So we can do that. We can change the image. You know, if for some reason we want to change the image and make sure that it's really what we want, we can select it and then click change and do it that way. So maybe we inserted the wrong thing, but we can also insert more. You know, it is something that we don't have to, you know, if we, here, let me grab another image, and I'm going to go right here and paste another image. So
what I like about this, Daniel, is that, oh my goodness. Okay, so we didn't talk about timing. Yeah, the fun we have on the show. The good thing about this is it's so familiar to people who would normally edit a Word document. So it's hopefully going to help encourage people to create more news or create more pages and just see that, look, no biggie, right? You don't have to get all creative with sections and web parts and try and get them all laid out in a strange new way, but just copy and paste it and drag it to where the cursor needs to be. Yeah. Phil had a comment here about something. Sorry. He said, like, for images in this new web part, I use the split column section only. One column wide looks terrible. So does that mean that if you were just to put this into a single column, so that's just your full length section, that it looks horrible?
Well, I do have this vertical section, right? So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it exactly the way he has it, but yeah, let's see if I do
that. Was he meaning single column rather than 3 columns?
Well, that's what I was in just before this was single column, but obviously it's not single column because I have that full width. I can go to a different site and give it a go.
Give it a go. This is good. I love the live willingness to show people.
This is site. We're going to copy and paste some text in here. We're going to go grab a great picture of Darrell, I think, and we're going to paste it in here. So this is the full screen, or I'm sorry, the one column, right? So single. So there it is.
Not too bad.
And then I'm going to edit and make it 3. Phil, is this what we're talking about? What's your...
Yeah, well, it definitely has a problem with 3 column, for sure.
Oh,
Can you drag the corners and change all the dimensions and all that sort of stuff like you can? Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and he's talking about white space and such with the most certainly. I think there's some improvements that need to be made on SharePoint page creation and editing, most certainly needs to be. But yeah, you are able to shrink the image, add in a caption, which is always great. We need captions on our images. That helps with screen readers. So
alternate text as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can most certainly do that. We can add alternate text. Definitely do that for every image you're adding. That's a quick tip there. Also, the way I grabbed this image was Shift Windows S. That was a way that I grabbed a little bit. For a lot of people, they do a whole screenshot or something, and that just grabs too much. So make sure you can Shift Windows S and be able to do that on a Windows PC. But anyway, there we go.
Are you like Heidi, where you're going to be going back and redoing some of your pages just to make this a bit easier? Right?
Not just some. I feel like there's going to be a lot of page editing going on because I've done a lot of pages with images and text, and let's move it down a little bit here and trying to align things, and it just wasn't there. The functionality that we needed just wasn't there. I will be most certainly doing a lot of editing and recreating pages, or just recreating that image and putting it over there where it needs to be. You can insert that image. You don't have to copy paste. I was showing that you can copy paste, but you can now just insert an image in the text web part. So if you already have the image, you can just insert it there. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, it looks like most of the image tools that you would normally have with the image web part are right there within the text web box.
Yeah.
Well, that's the show. That's actually probably a great way to finish off. Like, a lot of people are excited about that, and I'm going to throw that into my kit of what to show people when they become page editors and site owners. Looking forward to showing more people that. But that was episode 216, and as always, we do enjoy the engagement in the chat. We would love to, if you're just new here and you're checking out this episode later rather than live, then do subscribe. You'll find us on all the usual socials. Oh, yeah. So there's subscribe. There's the bell that Daniel usually has some kind of action to ring it. What have you got today, Daniel?
It's the Macarena. When you do the flip for the part when you're doing the Macarena, just go ahead and hit the bell so you get reminders of when we're going to be live. But make sure you subscribe and hit the thumbs up. People, that helps others find our show. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.